There's about a million things I thought that Emily Ehman and I would talk about midway through the volleyball season, and South Dakota State was not one of them. But in a second, Coach Dan Georgalas will join us from the undefeated 20-0 Jackrabbits. But I see you have the sweatshirt to prove it. You got to cover volleyball in Bloomington, and you went to the football game. And
I
what a
did.
story, their football team.
Oh, we're good. 8-0 for the first time, maybe ever. It was so much fun. Yeah, I had the Indiana volleyball match on Thursday, which they played Wisconsin. They didn't have their setter or their starting right side, so naturally it was a very quick match. But it was really fun to be there. My grandparents came, my dad came, and then I stayed through the weekend and had a lovely day with my dad. Went on a hike on Friday, carved pumpkins with my grandpa. It was great. And then, yeah, Saturday went to the football game, got sideline passes because sometimes my work has its perks, and had a lovely day. It was my first like real game day. College game day was there, which was really cool. And we just had a lovely weekend. It was a perfect fall weekend. And now we're back in the grind because a big week coming up.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Marblehead High School Magicians here in Massachusetts played four matches in 5 days, but they
Oh,
keep
God.
getting better and better. And 5'3" right side, Sydney Farris is just having herself a wonderful end to the season. And
No.
Marblehead awaits tomorrow to find out who they play in the first round of the state tournament. And I think it's the first time that Marblehead's ever going to the state tournament.
Oh, I love
Anyway,
that.
we have a ton of stuff to cover, but let's talk to Dan as soon as he gets in here because as I noted in my uh, poll comments this week, I was this close to putting South Dakota State at number 16. But Dan, I just couldn't do it. I wanted to, but it's just, you're not there yet. You got this very tough road trip coming up. You got to win these two matches and then next week, I promise, no matter what, number 16 at least.
Thank you. Good morning. Nice to see you guys.
You must
Nice
be
to meet
having
you
an
guys
awful
are.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we won't be bashful. It's been an incredible season. This winning streak has been so much fun. We're just so grateful for the people in our program, and the vibes are high. So it's been a great streak.
Got a big trip coming up. You guys see Omaha, who's second in the Summit League standings right now. What's kind of the mindset headed into this one of your toughest tests yet?
Yeah, I think what our group has done well all season is just to not put too much pressure on us. Obviously, we have a target on our back. Everyone is giving us such an incredible performance, and we played fantastic when we hosted Omaha and swept them earlier in Summit League play. But we know they're a perennial contender. We know that they're playing absolutely fantastic since they left Brookings. And to us, it's opponent 21. We're trying not to put too much pressure on ourselves. We're not paying attention. We don't talk about the RPI. We don't talk about getting votes. We're just going through our process and trying to treat every opponent the same. And that's really helped us so far.
The 20 wins is more at this point is more than you've had in your entire tenure there in one season. It it and it looks. Oh, go ahead, Emily.
I would say the turnaround too from last season. You go 9-20, you go 7-9 in Summit League play. What happened for the turnaround for just 1 year? I mean, it's night and day.
Sure. We had 19 wins in 2021. We had 18 wins in 2022. And then we just had a really injury-plagued season. We've been going through an arena renovation for the last 2.5 years where we haven't had a lot of home games, no non-conference home tournaments in 2 seasons. So we took a step back this year. But if you ask people within our program, we were confident we were going to get back on track and have a successful year. 20-0 is a surprise that we're really grateful for. But we knew we had a lot of pieces. We had a foreign tour this summer. We were opening the new arena this fall. And with our recruiting and the roster we were building, we felt confident that we were going to have a good year. So it looks like a big turnaround, and it is. But, we were confident that this was going to be a winning season.
Where'd you go on the tour?
We went to Brazil. So we had a great time. We got to play the U19 junior national team twice. We played 5 matches to 5 sets. So we played 25 sets of volleyball in June. We had the 10-day practice block beforehand. So, we had a lot of momentum with the First Bank and Trust Arena finally opening up. We moved into new office suite, new locker room suite when we came back for those June practices. But we felt like we were 20 days ahead from that foreign tour when we started the season, and I think that's showing.
You got your best obvious all around player is Sylvie, and her name is spelled Zgonc. I'm assuming it's Zonk, but I'm going to let you take it from there.
Yeah, Zagunts is, you got to try to fit all of that into one syllable. So, yeah, our lone 6-row player this year, she was freshman of the year last year. Just an absolute hammer, super terminal, almost 4.5 kills per set the entire season. But Sylvie's really improved her blocking, especially one-on-one scenarios like against the slide and stuff like that. But she's got to do it all, as you guys know. And even on days where she leads us in reception volume, she's also getting 25 kills. So teams are trying to slow her down, and she finds a way to keep scoring. And luckily, we've got a pretty balanced 6-2 this year that's hopefully taking some pressure off her shoulders.
Well, the amount of swings that she takes, and to be hitting 259 from the outside, and averaging something like 4.43 kills a set is legit. And your team has got a lot of aces. You guys must serve really tough.
Yeah, we put a big pressure or a big focus on that every Monday. That's our serve block dig day. So defense has been a huge focus for us. We think we're really physical. We're big at the net. We're athletic. I think we're over 3 blocks per set on the season. So we are a tough serving and blocking matchup, and that's really been a focus for us, is keeping opponents under 200.
Why did the 6-2 work out so well? Was this something you anticipated coming into the season using, or you just thought you had the pieces?
Yeah, that's a great question. We started in a 5-1, and we had another attacker on the bench, Emily Ehman, our lone 4-year senior, and we had another setter, grad transfer, in Cameron Hahn, who were both just competing really hard, and we wanted to get a little bit bigger and try to find another attacker to open up things for our middles, and it started working, and we haven't changed it all year. So 2 liberos, 2 setters, 2 right sides. We are successful by committee, and I think that's making this season even more fun.
Dan, this is really cool to have you on. I'm so excited about the Jackrabbits. Now, look, when we do these every week, I wear a shirt that's significant. And right now, my boy JT Wenger and the UT Arlington Mavs are rocking it. They are leading the WAC, and they're riding a 11 or 12 match winning streak. And so, Emily and I would look damn good in some Jackrabbits volleyball. All I'm saying. Okay.
Send me an address. I'll drop a package in the mail today. JT's crushing it. We've actually watched film on them. I think we had a similar opponent that we needed to scout. So they've got a 6'5" player in the middle, and they look really good. They got a super terminal pin that's crushing it for them. So I'm really happy to see their success this year too. But hey, you look good in blue, so we can give you some Jackrabbits here. That's no problem.
So look, we're going to spring you, but you got to promise to watch, because the next thing I'm going to bring up with Emily about our friend Travis Hudson and his assistant coach, Greg Bere, at Western Kentucky, you are not going to believe. Dan, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Best of luck the rest of the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I got to tell you, so I flipping around on the channels, and I'm watching let's see. I don't even. Dan is still there. And there we go. There you go. Okay. So you know how I watch multiple matches. I got the 265s up on the wall, and usually the sound's off, right? So we had this, and I put on Western Kentucky, and I go, oh, they're in the 5th with UTEP, because that was a really big 2-match series with in Conference USA. And so I'm watching, and I see Jenna Otek, your old buddy.
Yeah.
Holding the clipboard and going nose to nose with an official. And I said, she can't do that. Right. I mean, and another woman is with her. And so they zoom back, and play starts, and I don't see Travis or Craig. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so nothing on the report. So I texted Travis yesterday. I said, I watched the last set of your match at UTEP yesterday. Where were you and Craig? I can't make this up. In fact, in his text, he says you can't make this up. I went down at V-Ball League on Wednesday, parentheses, still play with the same guys I played with since college. Pretty bad, actually. My MRI showed much more damage than originally thought. A less frank fracture, total rupture of both ligaments, and 2 bones that are still displaced. Lucky me. 15 minutes after my injury in the same game, Craig pushed off and tore his Achilles. You can't make this stuff up. No, this is Western Kentucky and 2 of the best
Oh
guys
my
ever. Travis Hudson, if
God.
any of you know him, I mean, his story is just so unbelievable. He's the best guy and the best coach. So wasn't able to travel this weekend. We'll have surgery on Wednesday and be non-weight bearing for a couple months, both of us. Brutal. Amazing job by our players and staff to overcome the adversity versus a really
Oh
good
my
UTEP team.
goodness.
Oh my God. And I suggested to him that he follow my lead and become a swimmer. Oh my
Yeah,
Lord.
it sounds like it at this point. Oh my God.
I told you, didn't I? Remember the other day I said to you, I said, I got a Travis Hudson story that you will not believe. So
That is crazy.
yes, anyway,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So anyway, having Dan on from South Dakota State. So in our,
That's great.
I was so, they've got like a 27 RPI, 29 RPI.
Yeah.
And, but
Well, again, it's cool just to see. And I know, even if you have somewhat of the same pieces, having that turnaround from year to year is really difficult just mentally for athletes. So it's crazy that he's got them there and they're absolutely rolling. More fun weeks of volleyball ahead.
yeah, they haven't played anybody in the top,
Hey, a win's a win.
whatever. Their job is to win the matches they have scheduled to play.
Exactly.
Anyway, in zipping around in our poll today, we stayed. The first 6 teams all stayed the same: Pitt, Nebraska, Penn State, Louisville, Creighton, Stanford. Can I tell you? You remember the first week we had somebody forget Penn State, or the second week, and we were like, "How did that
Yeah.
happen?" Stacy, who tabulates our stuff, she texts me and goes, "Did you leave Penn State out on purpose?" And I said, "No,"
Again?
because you did. No, it was me this time, and luckily
Oh,
she caught it, and so I was able to redo it. I mean,
oh God.
like I didn't have Penn State third. Actually, I had him fourth because I've had Creighton third, and I've kept him third. But anyway, then we have
You're insane. I mean, again, great and incredible. Like come on.
well, maybe they'll play
I
each
get
other in the
it.
tournament. Maybe they
Maybe.
will.
I mean, again, I wouldn't. Creighton is the #1 team that I absolutely would not want to play. But resume wise, how do you? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
It
I
doesn't
will
matter.
say I flipped this week. I put Pitt back above Nebraska, who I had at #1 for the last 2 weeks, just because of the teams they had beat and strength of schedule and all of that. I know the RPI still has Nebraska above them, but man, I mean, watching Pitt and Louisville, obviously it's a really tight match. Pitt guts it out, but I think to me that was also a resume booster for Pitt to solidify them as #1 and an eye test. I mean, I don't know, aside from Nebraska fans, I don't know if there are people in the country that truly believe that Pitt does not look like the best team, hands down.
Eyeball test again. To me,
Yeah.
It's interesting. Just as an aside, and I didn't want to bring it up when we were talking to Dan from South Dakota State, but he talked about running those setters. You realize there's one setter transferred. She's at Illinois now, Bergen Riley's sister.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she left that team and
Yeah,
doesn't
they
get to play
actually they
all that
played
much
last
for
weekend. It was
Illinois.
cute.
It was a really cool moment the other day when Nebraska played Illinois and
Yeah.
they do the ball toss and Bergen Riley didn't toss her ball into the crowd. She ran across the
Yeah.
court and gave it to her sister. That was very cool.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I do want to go back though.
oh,
It's not very often that I just sit down and like watch volleyball matches for fun in terms of like, I'll maybe have like a few of them on, or a lot of times I'm working and scouting because I don't have that much time to just like watch matches. So a lot of them I'm either like have 3, 4 going at the same time, or I'll be scouting. So I'm like working at the same time. And on Friday was one of the first matches. I've probably done this 3 or 4 times all year, but the first time in a really long time since early the season that I just got to sit down and watch a match. And I was watching with my dad, which was so much fun. So I was watching Pitt and Louisville and ended up being, I mean, what I thought was the best match of the year. It was so much fun, the back and forth, the high level of play. And I tweeted about this and I still feel the same way. I love when teams get chippy. Like, they're talking trash through the net. They're staring each other down. I know they got the yellow card, which I think was so unwarranted. Like, let the girls play. Who cares? It was so much fun. And the way that it ended and Bree Kelly just being the complete difference maker for Pitt, hitting 500, 12 kills, 10 blocks. Like,
she was
oh,
fabulous. And the
that
two liberos,
so
Cleveland
good.
for Pitt and Scott for Louisville, they were
Yeah.
spectacular in that match.
I mean, it was so much fun. I think that was, I mean, to me, that was the best match that I've seen all year. Maybe Nebraska Purdue is obviously up there, but I think the way that this one ended, the other one, it felt like Purdue just really lost it. And this felt like Pitt won the match. And it was so fun. It was just the first time in a while that I had just watched a volleyball match, having no work to do, no nothing, just sitting there with my dad, like loving volleyball. And it was so much fun.
I watched so many matches the last 5 days, I can't even remember. And did I mention Marblehead High School 4 out of 5 nights?
Oh, did you get to watch Texas A&M Texas? I was calling a match, but
I did. Nice
God.
victory for Texas A&M. I don't put a lot into it in terms of, I mean, good victory for them. Show me what you know.
I
What
think
you
for
can
me, it's
do
more
after
like,
that.
okay, Jamie Morrison, it's hard to get these like massive big wins. And when you
Yeah.
get those, that gives your program confidence, that gives your girls confidence. It tells that like, okay, this head coach that we brought in was a good idea. They have their first win against Texas since 2010, their first win at Texas since 2001. Sure, maybe Texas having a down year compared to the last 2 seasons, but I think just to get those program statement wins is so huge for the program, for the head coach. I mean, Jamie Morrison does a hell of a job, so it was fun to see for him.
Yeah. But again, well, number one, about teams you don't want to play in December. Texas is not going to be home for those first 4 matches. And do you want Texas coming to your house?
Oh,
I
no.
don't think so. No. So, but look, eyeball test. I watch a lot of the SEC, and every year the SEC gets more teams in than anybody. And
Well, this morning you get a message and they say, who do you think has the most teams in the top 50 of the RPI? And I was like, ACC or Big Ten. And they'd be like, nope, SEC again.
And I mean, you talk about the eyeball test, and with all due respect, I mean, I'm good friends with some of those coaches. I
Yeah,
think the SEC is way below the other 3 leagues. I'll take the Big
right.
12 over the SEC personally right now by a lot.
Yeah.
That's here or there. Hey, you know what? A couple of ESPN and Big Ten Network announcer friends of ours have got to stop saying the Big Ten is the best league by far, because the ACC is doing pretty good. It's a pretty
I agree, completely agree. I think the difference is that one, I talked to coaches from other conferences and they say the exact same thing. I think one, the eyeball test is big there. Like when you look at the level of play, yes, the ACC has Pitt and they have Louisville and Stanford. Okay, you're very top heavy. I think it's when you get into the middle teams and the bottom teams, the Big Ten, the teams that haven't won a lot of matches in years past, the team like Michigan State, who just took down USC. I went out to cover Rutgers this year and I was like, this is a good team. I think that's when you get into like top to bottom. The Big Ten, to me and to a lot of other
look.
people
I
I
mean,
talk to, is by far the best.
at the bottom of the Big Ten going in reverse. I mean, Rutgers is 0-10, but Michigan State, which is 1-9, has been close a few times, had the reverse sweep against
Yeah.
USC. Ohio State's just snake bit. Poor JFO and that group. I mean, they just can't get out of their own way. I thought they
I
had them.
mean, they're up 2-0 on Minnesota and then
Yeah.
losing 5. That was tough for an Ohio State team that's been dealing with injury and is right there and just waiting for that big win. Again, but same with Michigan State. Like Michigan State finally got that. Ohio State's a team that's going to do the exact same thing.
Maryland, Ohio State, and Michigan State are all 1-9. Northwestern's
Yeah.
2-8. And but then you look at Iowa at 3-7, nice. Indiana, put Indiana in a lot of other leagues, and you're talking
Yeah.
UCLA's
You don't have
4-6.
injury.
Yeah. I never did finish the end of that top 16. So Purdue's 10, SMU, Oregon, Arizona State, Minnesota, Dayton in. Finally, I've been putting Dayton in every week, and Kentucky back in at 16th. TCU,
I
North
don't
Carolina, USC, Georgia Tech, Utah, BYU, and Texas A&M all got votes.
I don't have Dayton or Kentucky in mind.
That's okay. That's all right. And
I'm telling you, from 13 to 16 is hard because there's a clear drop off to me from Oregon down. Maybe I have Minnesota at 13, but like there to me is
back to those. Let me go back to those Big Ten standings. Oregon's 8-2.
yeah,
Nebraska and Penn State are 10-0, and Wisconsin is 9-1. Oregon's right there.
yeah.
I mean, right there. And
The thing
Purdue
about the Big
7-3
Ten,
is the best 7-3 conference team in the country. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. The thing about the Big Ten right now is the schedule wise, there's such a big difference for the top teams and what the end of their schedules look like. Like you look at Penn State, they have by far the most favorable schedule of any of these teams. They just won at USC. The only hard games they have left are at Wisconsin and then home against Purdue and home against Nebraska. You look at Nebraska, they're at Wisconsin, at Oregon, home against Minnesota, home against Wisconsin, at Penn State. They have 5 games left against top teams. Wisconsin, they've got 5-2. Nebraska, Penn State, at USC, Minnesota, and then at Nebraska. So like Penn State.
Are you reading that off the computer, or are you doing that off the top of your head?
No, I'm reading it off my computer. I have notes.
Okay, because I was going to get really worried that you knew too much in your brain there. You'd stop.
I will say I do have Nebraska, Wisconsin coming up this week. So these are things that like I will be rattling off soon. But
no, that's good. Hey, ACC, you got 3 teams at 9-1: Pitt, Louisville, and don't forget North Carolina. And Mabry Schaffmaster, Melanie's younger sister, is having just a fantastic career, but a great season. He had 25 kills yesterday for Carolina. And Stanford's at 8-2. So, but you know how I like to go through a couple of the notable events of the past few days.
Yeah.
The reverse sweeps. How about reverse sweeps? Morehead State on Friday was down 0-2 at SIUE. That's the other fake SIU Edwardsville in the Ohio Valley. And SIU came back for a reverse sweep. Morehead State had the reverse sweep. The next day, SIU reverse sweeped Morehead. Back-to-back reverse sweeps.
God.
UT Arlington, the aforementioned UT Arlington volleyball, had to have a reverse sweep at Utah Valley. They're 20-2 in the WAC, 22 overall, 10-0 in the WAC. Couple of incredible big-time numbers. This one would have gotten lost. Yeah, no, Colgate setter Esma Sipahi.
Okay.
This is in a 5-set win. She had 9 kills in 15 swings with no errors, 54 assists, 5 aces, 4 blocks, and 10 digs. That's stout.
Yeah.
It's stout. Have you seen K-State play this year? Have you ever had a chance to watch them?
No, but I saw Liz Grigorski tore ACL again, which made me really, really sad.
Yeah, Liz Grigorski. Yeah, but Lyle Carter had 32 kills yesterday in their 5-set win at Iowa State. And Kaylin Alexander, 28 kills. Miami's Flor Marie Heredia Colon had 28
Oh, Flo. She's so
kills
good.
when they lost to North Carolina. And, of course, you mentioned those reverse sweeps. Minnesota at Ohio State. North Alabama did it at Queens, and Eastern Kentucky did it to North Florida. And then
I don't think people realize how hard it is to get a reverse sweep. This was actually ironic because I was having this conversation with Kelly Sheffield before our match on Thursday, and we were just because he just became Wisconsin's most winning volleyball head coach, and so we were going back kind of through the Rolodex of, okay, tell us about your first win and all these things, and he said one of the things that stuck out when he took over the program was he was talking to or no, this wasn't even at Wisconsin. This was, I think, at Albany. So before he was even at Dayton. So long time ago. And he went into the program and was like, have you guys ever come back down 0-2? Ever? And they were like, no, like, I don't think so. And he was like, okay, so that's a problem. Like I've done it, or this might've been at Dayton. I don't know when it was, whatever. He was like, I've done it like 7 times. A few in the NCAA tournament and a few to make the NCAA tournament. He's like, that's the biggest thing that we have to change is just that mentality of, okay, you're down 0-2. What's happening in a locker room? Are girls just thinking about, okay, can we get done fast so we can go have our Saturday plans and can we go out or whatever? Like, or are girls sitting there like, hey, let's get our stuff together and figure it out. And I think there's such a difference in what's happening in a locker room of a program that expects to always come back, or at the other hand, this is like, okay, I don't really care anymore. This match is over. Let's go home. Who really cares? And again, I don't think people understand how hard it is to come back down from 0-2, not even just to win the next set.
Right. But I mean, every single day in my roundups, and
it's sick.
This is incredible this year. But how about the other day, on Friday when Pitt played Louisville? Okay, Michael Vernon had 37 kills from Missouri in 4 sets at Arkansas, right? Pretty stout. But this is, we talk about National Player of the Year. and this kid's name doesn't come up. And I maintain that if you took Kennedy Martin off of Florida,
Yeah.
you'd be talking about a team that would win one or two more SEC matches the rest of the way. Would have
Yeah.
just in terrible shape. She had 31 kills at 542 and had 8 digs, 2 blocks against Tennessee in 4
I've
sets.
I've got Florida, Arkansas on Wednesday, and I haven't had Florida since I haven't had them 2 years since the Kohl Center match at Wisconsin. And so I haven't seen Kennedy Martin in person. I am so excited. I'm so excited.
I think she's 28's a little soon because she's a sophomore, but 2032 legit Olympic candidate for the right side.
I think it's hard too
you-
because her and Olivia Babcock are essentially the exact same player. They're both huge. They both take over matches, and to me, I think Babcock's just has definitely a leg up. But you never know how a player is going to develop. They're both 19 years old, 20 years old.
they both could learn how to be better passers and become 6 rotation players, and and maybe one moves to the outside, or I could go on and on. There isn't anything I put past either one of those two kids.
No.
Anyway, I think I've tapped on all of my.
Let's talk about the week coming up.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let me just look through here and see if there's anything crazy that. You know what? This is totally random because this is one you would not have known, but in the CIA, the Coastal Athletic Association, there are 4 teams tied for first at 9-3: Towson,
Oh.
Charleston, Delaware, and Hofstra. And NCAA is 8-4. And then, just as an aside, last place in that league is Hampton, the Hampton Pirates, who are now 0-24 and 0-12 in the league. Poor Hampton. We're rooting for you every time out. I've got your Emily's in charge of the big matches ahead. Wednesday, Oregon at Washington. Big, always just great when those two programs play each other, because this will be the first time in the Big Ten, I believe, right? They haven't played first round, have they?
I think they did. I could be wrong.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up while you expound about that match.
I think they did. Honestly, not sure, but Washington's a team that's been kind of in and out of the top 25 poll for the last few weeks. Oregon's been steady, either top 10 or top 15. So good opportunity for Washington to come out and give them a good one. Thursday, another rival. Second time, right?
Yeah, Oregon beat Washington in 5.
That's what I thought.
On October 13th.
Yeah, I was going to say it was recent because we did a piece about that, and I don't have a memory clearly. USC has got a massive week because this is a team that just lost to Penn State and lost to Michigan State. So they right now are, I would guess, completely out of the top 16. So they need to start getting some big wins. Both of these would definitely help that. They have UCLA on Thursday and then Washington on Sunday. And they're home for Washington, which is big too. So those are 2 matches that USC really needs to get. And then Arizona State, also big week in the Big 12, at BYU on Thursday and then at Utah on Saturday. So Arizona State trying to continue to hold on to that top 16 spot as well. Those are kind of 2 wins that they need.
Yeah, USC is in got to come away with at least one of those. UCLA needs to do a big victory too, because right there, right? I have what's UCLA's current pseudo RPI.
Regardless, this is one that USC absolutely
58 UCLA right now in
this is one that USC has to get. Washington again, that pretty much has to get 2. So that's a big week coming up for them again after a week that did not go their way. And then the big one, Nebraska at Wisconsin on Friday. I could not be more excited. To me, Wisconsin, watching a lot of the top teams right now, Wisconsin, obviously they had an 0-3 start. Now they're absolutely rolling. They've won the last, 12 of 14 games or 12 of 13 games or something crazy. They're undefeated.
Healthy and looking good.
Well, yeah, the numbers they're putting up, and we did a graphic on, I don't know, whatever, Thursday, whenever we did their match, and their numbers from non-conference to conference play have skyrocketed. And most of that is because they had a freshman setter. Well, they have a freshman setter that finally just got comfortable setting. The crazy difference in heights of hitters that she has, because they're all so different in every position. Defensively, they hadn't been able to work on blocking pretty much until conference play because all the focus was on gelling the offense. They've pretty much settled into a lineup. They'll flip their middles sometimes. But this is a team that, to me, I think they look like the best team in the Big Ten right now, hands down. I think they're putting the pieces together. They're, again, the most physical. I think.
What's funny is I agree with you, and all you
Yeah.
Nebraska fans who just went into convulsions, eyeball tests.
We call them the WAN. It's always the "what about Nebraska" people. And it doesn't matter what you say, there's always someone who's going to say "what about Nebraska." I love them to death. They are the greatest fan base in the world, but there are times where you do have to realize that you are not always the best. I just think when you look at this on paper, it looks like it did. It doesn't matter how Wisconsin started. It matters at what they look like right now. And to me, they look like I was actually texting with another Big Ten coach yesterday, and we were like, Wisconsin hands down looks like the best team. It isn't really a question right now.
Nebraska's won 17 in a row. Penn State's won
Yeah.
12 in a row, and Wisconsin's won 9 in a row. But Wisconsin looks really, really good. I love these other matches that you have down there. Stanford at Florida State. That's going to be their trip there. First trip there on Sunday in the ACC. Florida State and Audrey Koenig, among others, a fabulous team. And then also in the ACC, Georgia Tech at UNC, possible seeding game for both of those teams.
So I was looking through UNC's schedule too. It gets pretty tough coming up. They have Georgia Tech, and then at Pitt, at SMU, at Louisville, home against Stanford. So they've got some big matches coming up for the end of the year.
How many windows do you have up on the screen right now?
It's just like a Rolodex.
I think we hit most of it. Oh, so you just have the one match, or do you have more than that this week?
No, I'm at Arkansas for Florida Arkansas on Wednesday, and then which Arkansas is struggling right now. I was watching they got swept by Mississippi State, and things weren't great. Yeah, I'm excited to see Kennedy Martin for Florida. I'll say that. And then Friday, yeah, Wisconsin, Nebraska, the big one, and I've got Saturday, Sunday off, so that'll be nice. The schedule usually lightens up in November because basketball starts, and then at the end of the year, Thanksgiving and the weekend before, it's always crazy. But I mean, it's crazy because we're already talking about postseason stuff. There's tournament planning happening, there's everything and all of that, and which is really fun for all of us because it feels like there's a lot more pressure on all of these matches right now too, which is exciting.
Pressure is waiting until tomorrow to find out the Massachusetts volleyball bracket for Division II, finding out where
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat.
That's pressure. Hey, I have fun on those matches. When I was the LSU basketball beat writer for the Baton Rouge newspaper, I'd go to Arkansas at least once a year for basketball games, which is an absolutely fantastic experience, and covered some football there too. And I was there once in that decade, and the sun shined. It was a nice day.
Thanks. You got any food racks? Let me know.
In
Barbecue place? Does that like?
Yeah. There's well, Woo Pig Suey is what they say there.
Oh, yeah. That's
there you go.
Yeah.
She is the inimitable Emily Ehman, who covers the Big Ten, the national college volleyball scene. She is the enterprise that is Emily. You like that? And
Love it.
I'm just muddling through day to day and trying to keep up. And I'll leave you with go Mavs and go Jackrabbits.